Okay, so as the master of the Devil's Tango, one thing I will say is that I've done it in a lot of places. And I know that you guys love the story about how I did it in a sauna. So today I'm going to be telling you guys how I did it in literally the one place that, let's just say, things get really wet. And that is the steam room. But before anything, like usual, make sure you do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Seriously, means a lot when you guys do. And let's just get straight into this crazy story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane video. So today's video takes place back when I was in high school. Actually, well, to be honest, I was already out of high school when this happened, but we were close to being in high school. And what I mean by that, it was the summer of grade 12 being over. I remember I was out of high school, I was fresh out of it, and I remember I just wanted to go have fun. And I know many of you guys are out of school right now, so let me just paint the picture a little bit. Me in high school, I never had a plan for my future career. I didn't know what I wanted to be. A lot of people said that I should go into the military like my parents did a lot of the time, and part of me really just wanted to become a YouTuber, but obviously that's a dream that is hard to achieve. So I remember basically I was working part-time construction and basically just going out and having fun. Since I worked so early in the morning, I had a lot of time after work to basically do whatever I wanted. Like, you guys have no idea how it feels to know that you don't have any homework, no responsibilities, and just go out and have fun. So me, I remember basically what I ended up doing was hanging out with my friends that basically were kind of on the same boat as me for not knowing what they wanted to do in the future. I remember me and the boys, basically is what we're gonna call them, did a lot of crazy things. Like, for example, we'd run away from cops. We would basically, you know, go out and steal signs on the streets. We do a lot of crazy things that were, well, not all legal. But I remember one time when I was just chilling at home, there was an Instagram post posted about a girl in our school who was, I'm not gonna lie to you, the hottest girl in our school, posting that apparently there's gonna be an amazing pool party that is happening that she's hosting for all the grade 12s that has graduated. Now, me knowing this, I obviously wanted to go. I really wanted to go see everyone again from my high school and basically wanted to, you know, go see what they were doing so I can kind of reflect and see what plans I could do to maybe make my future better. Little did they end up knowing I became a YouTuber, but that's way later in the future. Going on though, I remember basically what I ended up doing was I ended up sending all the boys the Instagram post saying, yo bro, like, you gotta check this out. Like, seriously, this is insane. We should go to this. And when I sent it to all of them, I remember all of them were freaking out thinking, dude, like, I can finally go talk to that girl. Or one of them was like, oh, like, I don't know, like, going to go see my ex-girlfriend's gonna be kind of risky. But honestly, I didn't care. Honestly, one thing I realized is that since we were all adults now, we had to throw everything behind us and basically go to this party and have fun, because what else are we gonna do on a normal Saturday night, right? So I remember on the day of, we all ended up basically going to this girl's house that was basically having a major party. And when we went to that party, I remember it was one of the rich girls in our school. That's why AKA she was super popular. And basically I remember when all the boys got to her house, we were there pretty early, but still not too early. Like, early to the point where all her friends were there of the host of the party, but like, you know, the boys ended up showing up. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that awkward. And I remember when we were there, we were basically just walking around the house, like checking out the place, because obviously it's a really nice place. And one thing I realized about her place is that she had a sauna, a pool, and also a diving board. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part, I think, that was very interesting, and this is where things get really sus, was a steam room. Now, before this, I never actually went inside a steam room. I know, like, bodybuilders use it just to, like, you know, maybe like sweat off some calories or something. I don't really know how a steam room works. All I know is that you go in there with your swim trunks and basically steam out. I have no idea, to be honest. It didn't make any sense to me. So I remember I ended up going up to the chick that owned the place and said, yo, I'm just wondering, like, what does the sauna do? I remember she looked at me like really, like, kind of like flirtatiously, I will say, and basically ended up telling me, oh, like, it's like to, like, you know, like, just kind of like sweat off, like, there's some calories or something like that. I don't really know. My dad likes using it a lot though after the gym. Oh, okay, is what I ended up telling her. And then afterwards, I remember I ended up going up to the boys and I said, yo bro, like, I'm gonna try out the steam room after. I remember my buddies all looked at me and they started laughing, and he's like, dude, did you not realize what girl you were talking to? I looked over and I'm like, yeah, that's the girl that owns the place. And then afterwards, I remember I looked again and she was talking to her friends but giggling and pointing at me very, well, sus, if you know what I mean. I remember my buddy ended up grabbing my shoulder and he pulled me in saying, bro, the chick likes you. Wait, what? Why? And then I remember I was asking them, like, why would the girl all of a sudden like me? Like, she was the hottest girl in our high school. But I remember one of the guys ended up telling me how I basically ended up gaining weight and got more muscular. And since I worked construction, I could see how that ended up happening, because I used to be a lot skinnier back in high school, but not too skinny to the point where I was like anorexic. I don't know. It was pretty interesting. But basically, she said I basically got more attractive. I don't know what that means. I guess puberty hit me like a rock. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I am the hottest guy in the world. I mean, if you guys don't believe me, go check out my Instagram. But still, I mean, it is what it is. is. Going on from there, though, I remember I was just kind of like, you know, playing along with it, saying, okay, well, I mean, like, you know, we can get a couple drinks out, and I guess, you know, I'll try hitting on her, is what I ended up telling them. And all my friends were basically teasing me about it the whole entire night. Because if you guys don't know, I think all of us have gone through this, where if you like a girl, or for example, a girl likes a guy, your friends end up picking on you about how you should go, like, you know, hang out with them, ask them out, all that weird stuff, and make the situation more bigger than it actually is. So I remember me knowing this, I basically ended up going to the place where there was like all the liquor. By the way, don't underage drink, kids. It's not a good idea, no matter what party you go to. Anyways, like I said earlier, I remember I ended up going up to the pool, and I basically sat down with a bottle of beer, and I just basically started drinking it and relaxing. And little did I know it, basically, the girl that ended up owning the place that apparently liked me ended up sitting right beside me. She sat down beside me, and she had like some kind of weird punch in a glass or something. And she basically ended up telling me, oh my goodness, like, I literally remember you from high school. Like, what are you up to nowadays? Like, you really got bigger, didn't you? And I remember I looked at her, and she was in a swimsuit. So obviously she had some like cherries popping, you know what I'm saying? So me, I looked at her, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, you know, I do construction, you know, same old, just working hard, trying to make that bag, you know? I tried to play it as cool as possible, but then I remember she didn't really care for what I had to say. She literally just kept getting closer and closer to the point where it seemed like we were literally dating. I remember all my friends were sending me Snapchats of photos of us being beside each other, but obviously I wasn't gonna go check my phone because she was literally right beside me, so that would make things even more awkward. So instead of me just sitting there being embarrassed the entire time, I ended up putting my bottle of beer down, and I ended up just jumping into the pool. Like, no joke, I jumped inside the pool. I told the girl to get on my shoulders, and I basically told everyone to jump into the pool unless you're a wuss. They all ended up jumping in, and we ended up playing games like chicken. We ended up playing basketball, and we ended up actually playing a game where we basically decide who would do the coolest dive. It's kind of interesting, actually. I don't know. It's just a game I guess we ended up playing. But then I remember I ended up walking up to my buddy of mine towards like the end of the night, basically, of the party, or the pool party, I guess now it would be called. And basically ended up asking him, yo, bro, like, do you want to hit the sauna? Like, I actually want to try that thing now. Because I remembered I really wanted to try it out earlier. He ended up looking at me saying, dude, like, I don't know how to use that thing. And I ended up telling him, dude, like, how hard can it be? I remember me and him ended up walking up to the steam room, and we basically tried turning it on. But honestly, those things are really complicated to actually work, because there's so many buttons and so many like things you have to do to make sure it's like actually like proper temperature and stuff. So I didn't know how it worked. But then I remember my buddy looked at me and said, yo, bro, I'm gonna get the chick that owns the place. Just give me 1 sec. So he ended up leaving instantly as I'm looking at this thing, and 2 seconds later, the girl that actually ends up owning the place walked up to me. I looked at him, and I saw that he was like kind of far away, and I told him to come, like, you know, come help, but he didn't want to come. It was pretty awkward, and honestly, the way I said that made it sound really sus, but that's not the point. Basically, he didn't come over after, and I was like super awkward and weirded out by why he didn't. But then this girl ended up telling me, oh, like, want to go inside the steam room? Like, I can teach you how to use it and stuff. Here, I'll show you the way to use it. And basically, me and her, we ended up going in the steam room together, and she ended up closing the door on us. It was super awkward, but I remember I ended up just sitting in the steam room, just basically steaming it up, as people would say. And I'm just sweating in there thinking, holy cow, dude. It's like I took a fat hit of a vape and just started dying in here. And basically, the chick that was beside me that owned the steam room basically started laughing. She started laughing and got really flirtatious, and I'm not gonna lie to you, she got to the point where she ended up coming really close to me, and she ended up putting her hand on my thigh. She was gonna do this move earlier, apparently, at the pool, but she couldn't. But since we were alone inside a room that was steaming hot, I guess it was like the perfect opportunity for her. So obviously, I wasn't like gonna be all weird and say no, like, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sus, right? Like, you know, I like girls. Like, I'm not gonna complain. So I remember me and her, we ended up basically like cuddling up in there together, and one thing led to another. We ended up basically just doing the devil's tango, because she ended up taking her bikini off. Yeah, so obviously, like, I'm gonna go in, you know what I mean? Like, Bravo 6 going out, you know? It's one of those moments, all right? I remember basically when me and her were doing the devil's tango, I actually found it hard to breathe in there, because it's actually super difficult to breathe heavily in a steam room. And then one thing led to another. I remember basically we heard a knock on the steam room, and apparently it was the girl's dad that owned the place. So I was like freaking out saying, oh shoot. So I basically stood up, put on my pants, and that's literally all I had to do since I had not much on. And the girl literally just had to tie up her bikini top on. That's literally all she had to do. Since we weren't wearing much clothing, we didn't really have much to put on to be fast about, I guess. And then I remember her dad ended up just opening the steam room, and he's like, oh, why is the steam room locked, guys? That's very dangerous. Don't do that. And basically ended up walking away. I remember this girl looked at me, and she ended up giving me her Snapchat instead of me following her on Instagram, and said, here, you know what? Maybe next time we can meet up and go to like my room instead. You know what I mean? Yeah, is what I ended up telling her. But obviously, what ended up happening next, we're just gonna leave for a story for another time. But if you guys do want the next part, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And like I always say, fall for more embarrassing but crazy stories. Peace out, guys.